The letter trembles in my hand as I stand frozen in my living room. CBS New York wants me as their weekend anchor. My dream job, my shot at the big leagues, everything I've worked toward since journalism school. I should be jumping, screaming, calling everyone I know. Instead, I'm listening to my family plot against me from the kitchen. She can't possibly think we'd let her move to New York, my mother says, her voice carrying through the doorway. After everything we've done for her. Celine needs her here, my father adds. You're still establishing your acting career. I inch closer to the doorway, the cream-colored envelope still clutched in my fingers. How do they even know about this? The letter arrived today, addressed to me at the station. I saw the email from CBS in her account last week. Celine's voice, my younger sister. My heart drops like a stone. I was just borrowing her laptop to check my audition schedule, and it popped up. My sister has been reading my emails. My family has been discussing my future without me. The betrayal burns hot in my chest, igniting something I've kept buried for years. We just need to remind her of her responsibilities. My mother continues. Family comes first. It always has. I step into the kitchen doorway, letter held high. 3 faces snap toward me, transforming instantly from conspiracy to concern. Alara! My father recovers first, his weathered face rearranging into fatherly worry. We were just discussing how dangerous New York would be for you, sweetheart. My mother dabs at the corners of her eyes, no tears visible. Family needs to stay together. You know that. Celine reaches for my hand across the granite countertop. I thought we were a team, Alara. Her perfect eyebrows draw together in practiced distress. How could you even consider leaving? I look at them, really look at them perhaps for the first time. My parents, both still in their work clothes despite it being well past dinner time. My sister, flawless in her casual elegance, the outfit I helped her pick for yesterday's commercial audition. The memories flood through me in vivid flashes. Driving Celine to auditions across 3 states while missing the station's editorial meeting where they assigned the city council corruption story, my story, to someone else. Writing check after check for Celine's acting classes while my apartment ceiling leaked for the 3rd straight month. Last Christmas, when my promotion to lead local reporter warranted a passing mention, while Celine's callback for a yogurt commercial received champagne and tears. The position is anchor, not reporter, I say quietly, watching their expressions shift. Weekend anchor at CBS New York. My father's face darkens. You can't seriously be considering this, Alara. What about your sister's career? What about your mother and me? What about us? Celine echoes, her voice rising. I have 3 auditions next week. Who's going to drive me? Who's going to help me with my lines? My mother reaches for my arm. After everything we've sacrificed for you. Her fingers press into my skin. Your father helped pay for your journalism degree. The scholarships I earned paid for my degree. The scholarships they claimed credit for when telling family friends about their successful daughter. But that's not the battle I want to fight right now. I'm considering the offer. I say, each word deliberate and clear. The kitchen falls silent. My father's mouth opens, then closes. My mother's hand drops from my arm as if burned. You can't be serious, Celine whispers. You're just going to abandon us? After everything? It's an anchor position, I repeat, at CBS New York. My father's voice hardens. You have obligations here, Alara. Family obligations. We're counting on you. The familiar weight of guilt presses down on my shoulders, but something else rises to meet it. Something that feels dangerously like freedom. I fold the letter carefully and slip it into my pocket. Without another word, I turn and walk out of the kitchen. Alara? My mother calls after me. Where are you going? We need to discuss this. Alara, Celine's voice rises in panic. You can't just walk away. But I can. And I do. For the first time in years, I don't apologize. I don't reassure them. I don't promise to reconsider. Behind me, their voices rise in confusion, then alarm. The sound grows distant as I close my bedroom door, leaning against it, letter clutched to my chest. They're scared, not for me, but for themselves. And for once, that's not my problem to solve. At my apartment, the next day, the bank statements spread across my kitchen table tell a story no one in my family has bothered to read. Each highlighted transaction forms a pattern: $800 for Celine's acting workshop, $1,200 for her headshots, $350 for her dialect coach. 3 years of statements, 36 months of financial drainage disguised as family support. I flip through my planner, post-it notes marking the career events I missed. The investigative journalism conference in Chicago crossed out with Celine's callback scribbled over it. The producer lunch canceled for Celine's emergency audition prep. The weekend training workshop abandoned halfway through because Celine needs moral support before her big commercial. My phone buzzes again, the 5th call from my mother in 2 hours. I let it ring while surveying my apartment, the water stain on the ceiling that grew from dinner plate to car tire size over 6 months, the second-hand furniture I've kept since college, the single luxury I allow myself. A decent coffee maker. All while paying half the rent on Celine's downtown luxury condo because appearances matter in the entertainment industry. The phone stops, then immediately starts again. Alara, this has gone far enough. My mother's voice rises with practiced distress. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. Is that what you want? I tuck the phone against my shoulder while opening a folder labeled Celine's Recommendations, 12 reference letters I've written for her, my journalism awards, hidden in a shoebox under my bed. Mom, I'm still considering the offer. My voice sounds steadier than it feels. There's nothing to consider. We raised you to understand family obligations. After all we've done for you. The folder slips from my hands, papers scattering across the floor. What exactly have you done for me, Mom? The silence stretches thin before her reply comes, knife sharp. I see you've made your choice then. The call ends before I can respond. 20 minutes later, my father calls. His approach differs from my mother's emotional ambush. It's financial warfare. Celine can't manage without your help, Alara. You know that. His voice carries the weight of assumed authority. The lease renewal on her apartment is next month. And what about her car payment? I stare at the co-signed lease agreement in my hand. Maybe it's time she learned. This isn't like you. The disappointment in his voice would have crushed me 3 days ago. We've always been able to count on you. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? My phone pings with notifications. Celine's Instagram post appears on my screen. A black and white photo of her staring wistfully out a window, caption reading, When family abandons you just as your dreams begin to take flight. Heartbroken, family, betrayal. The comments flood in. Cousins, aunts, old family friends all rushing to comfort poor abandoned Celine. My phone rings again. Aunt Martha. Alara, honey. Her voice once offered comfort during family storms. Now she's part of the squall. You need to think about what you're doing. Celine is devastated. Do the right thing, dear. I hang up without answering. At work, I huddle over my desk, trying to focus on the city council corruption story. Thomas, the station's senior reporter, stops by my cubicle. Hey, heard about CBS. He drops his voice. New York would be lucky to have you. I look up, surprised by the genuine pride in his eyes. Thanks. Not everyone feels that way. Family giving you grief? He leans against my desk. Listen, my sister tried the same guilt trip when I moved to Chicago. Best decision I ever made. Later that evening, I bump into Mrs. Winters in the apartment hallway. At 78, she's watched me haul Celine's furniture, drive Celine to auditions, and return exhausted for years. Heard you talking on the phone earlier. She adjusts her glasses. About New York. I nod, waiting for the familiar lecture about family responsibility. It's time you lived for yourself, dear. Her weathered hand squeezes mine. Some birds push others from the nest. Others need to be pushed themselves. My phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca, my college roommate. They'll survive without you, but will you survive without this opportunity? When Friday arrives, my mother calls with an invitation that sounds more like a summons. Family dinner tomorrow night. Everyone will be there. I recognize the setup immediately, the staged intervention. Saturday evening, I park outside my parents' home, watching aunts, uncles, and cousins arrive bearing casseroles and concerned expressions. Taking a deep breath, I walk inside. The performance begins immediately. Uncle Robert's hand on my shoulder. Family means sacrifice, Alara. Cousin Jennifer's tearful reminder. Your sister needs your support now more than ever. My grandmother's gentle guilt. In my day, sisters never abandoned each other. Celine sits at the table's center, eyes artfully reddened, voice breaking as she speaks. I don't know how I'll manage without you. My career is at such a critical point. I remain silent, watching each practice line, each coordinated glance. The manipulation that once felt like love now lies exposed under the dining room lights. My mother passes the mashed potatoes with trembling hands. Alara has always understood the importance of family. She'll make the right choice. But they've miscalculated. Their performance only strengthens my resolve. Each manipulative word, each tearful glance, each assumed sacrifice, all of it pushing me further toward New York, toward freedom. I take the potatoes, serve myself a generous portion, and for the first time in years, I eat while they talk, savoring each bite as they try desperately to pull the strings that no longer control me. Next week, the Instagram notification pings on my phone. Another perfectly filtered photo of Celine, mascara-stained tears catching the light just so, captioned, "When the person you trusted most abandons you without warning." 300 sympathetic comments and counting. At my office, I toss the phone onto my couch and continue packing books into cardboard boxes. This marks day 5 of what I've come to think of as the public shaming of Alara Wilson. Celine has posted twice daily, each photo more dramatically lit than the last, each caption more heart-wrenching. Alara. I turn to find Denise from Weather standing in my cubicle doorway at the station, concern etched into her forehead. "Is everything okay with your family? My husband plays racquetball with your father, and he mentioned you've been having difficulties." "Everything's fine," I say, arranging my face into what I hope passes for confusion rather than the simmering anger bubbling beneath my skin. "Well, if you need anything." She squeezes my arm. "Family always comes first." By lunchtime, 3 more colleagues approach with similarly worded concerns. The station suddenly feels smaller, suffocating. I escape to my car, gripping the steering wheel, until my knuckles whiten. Family troubles can affect job performance. I overhear station manager Davis telling someone as I pass his open office door later that afternoon. My father's voice answers, "We're just concerned about Alara's stability right now. These family commitments." I freeze mid-step, a stack of research files clutched to my chest. My father is speaking with my boss. About me. Without me. That evening, I sit cross-legged on my apartment floor, breathing deeply the way the meditation app instructs. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The familiar knot in my stomach tightens anyway. I've never been good at meditation. Too many thoughts crowding my mind. Instead, I open the leather-bound journal Rebecca sent me last week. The first pages stare back at me, intimidatingly blank. Rebecca's note tucked inside reads, "Remember who you were before they told you who to be." I begin writing, hesitantly at first, then with increasing speed. Memories, frustrations, dreams I'd almost forgotten. 2 hours later, my hand cramps from gripping the pen, 6 pages filled with revelations I'd never allowed myself to acknowledge. "You were always the smart one." My college roommate Emma tells me over the phone the next day, "I always wondered why you came home every weekend instead of interning at that television station that wanted you." "Celine had auditions," I say automatically. "And you had a future," Emma replies. Later that week, I find myself in a church basement, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, sitting in a circle of folding chairs. "Adult children of manipulative parents," reads the flyer I found at the community center. The stories shared around me echo my own with uncomfortable precision. "They make you feel responsible for their happiness," says a gray-haired woman named Joan. "That's how they control you." Walking home, something clicks into place. My 3 journalism awards, the promotion to lead local reporter last year, the viewers who write in specifically about my city council corruption pieces. None of it happened because of my family's support. It all happened despite their active interference. When I arrive home, they're waiting. Mother at the kitchen table, tissues already in hand. Father standing by the window, arms crossed. Celine perched delicately on a chair, eyes puffy from what I suspect were on-demand tears. "We need to talk," Mother says, voice wavering. "About this New York nonsense." I set my purse on the counter, remaining standing. "It's not nonsense. It's a job offer." "It's abandonment." Mother's voice rises. "After everything we've sacrificed for you, you're choosing career over family." Father turns from the window. "You seem to have forgotten the financial arrangements in this family, Alara. The loans I co-signed. The investments we've made in your sister's future that require your assistance." "You've always been jealous of my talent," Celine whispers, the tremor in her voice practiced to perfection. "Just because your career is stalled, you want to ruin mine." The familiar guilt rises, then dissipates, like morning fog burned away by unexpected Sunday. I look at them, really look at them. Mother's tissues dry despite her tears. Father's calculated stance. Celine's performance worthy of her acting coach's praise. I've already accepted the position, I say, my voice steady. The kitchen falls silent. No one moves. The control they've wielded so effectively for years slips visibly from their grasp. You can't. Father finally manages. I did, I reply. 2 days ago. In the days that follow, my phone fills with unexpected messages of support. Thomas from the politics desk sends links to affordable apartments in Brooklyn. My cousin owns this building, his text reads. Great security. Female super. Mrs. Winters from next door knocks on my door holding a set of spare keys. You can store whatever you need in my spare bedroom, dear. It'll be safe until you get settled. Rebecca creates a group chat with 3 friends from her NYC advertising firm. Alara's coming to the city, she announces. Networking dinner when you arrive. Most surprising is the sealed envelope Davis hands me after the evening broadcast. Recommendation letter, he says gruffly. Been working on it since you mentioned the CBS interest 3 months ago. Figured you'd need it eventually. I sit alone in my apartment that night, opening my personal email account, the one no family member has access to. The unopened message from Gerald Fontaine, CBS executive producer, sits in my inbox. With shaking fingers, I click it open. Miss Wilson, it begins. We're pleased to formally offer you the weekend anchor position at CBS New York, with potential for national correspondent work during the week. Your trial segments impressed the entire executive team. I scroll through contract details, salary figures that make me blink twice, start date circled in red. Exactly 3 weeks from today. Below it, confirmation of first month's rent paid on a Brooklyn Heights apartment, security deposit handled, moving allowance authorized. I close my laptop and look around my half-packed apartment. They thought they were fighting to prevent me from accepting an offer. They never realized I'd been preparing for months. Every detail arranged with the precision I bring to my investigative pieces. For the first time in years, I smile without reservation. They tried to build walls, but all along, I was quietly building wings. On Thursday morning at the bank teller slides the forms across the counter. That's the last of them, Miss Wilson. Your name has been removed from all joint accounts. Thank you. I tuck the papers into my leather portfolio, another item checked off my list. The past week has unfolded according to my carefully crafted plan, a plan I started building the moment I walked out of that kitchen with the CBS letter. Yesterday, I slipped into my parents' house while everyone attended Celine's commercial callback. The spare key turned silently in the lock as I retrieved my birth certificate, passport, and childhood photos from the family filing cabinet. Nothing I didn't legally own, nothing they could claim I stole. Just reclaiming pieces of myself they'd stored away, like so many other parts of my life. This morning, I called Celine's landlord and transferred my name off her lease. The conversation was brief, professional. I set up the automatic transfers next 3 months of partial support that will stop abruptly after 90 days. A transition period, not a lifetime commitment. My phone buzzes as I leave the bank. Father's name flashes on the screen, his 3rd call today. Alara. His voice wavers when I answer. I'm at County General. They're running tests on my heart. The familiar guilt rises, but something new rises with it, recognition of the pattern. Which doctor are you seeing? I ask, my tone neutral. Dr. Miller. A pause. He says I need family around me right now. I stop walking. Father, Dr. Miller retired last year. You mentioned it at Thanksgiving. The silence stretches thin before he clears his throat. I meant the new cardiologist. His name slipped my mind. I hope everything's all right, I say. Keep me posted. I end the call before he can elaborate, before the next layer of manipulation unfolds. 20 minutes later, Mother calls about grandmother's brooch suddenly missing. Desperately important, and only Alara would know where to look. By evening, Aunt Martha appears unannounced at my apartment door, her expression grave as she declares she's come to talk sense into me. I offer her tea, but not explanations, not anymore. At the station the next morning, I stand in front of my colleagues with my head high. I've accepted a weekend anchor position at CBS New York. I announce, my voice steady. My last day here will be the 28th. The congratulations pour forth immediately genuine, warm, enthusiastic. Thomas clasps my shoulder. They'd be fools not to snatch you up, he says loudly enough for everyone to hear. During my lunch break, I post a single factual update on my social media, excited to announce I've accepted a weekend anchor position with CBS New York starting next month. Grateful for this opportunity, and looking forward to this next chapter. Within minutes, my phone begins a symphony of notifications. Colleagues, college friends, journalism contacts, all offering congratulations. Their voices drown out Celine's earlier posts about being abandoned and left to struggle alone. That evening, as promised, I attend the family dinner at my parents' house. The dining room feels smaller somehow, the walls closer, the air thicker with unspoken accusations. The station threw you a goodbye party, Mother says, placing a casserole dish on the table with unnecessary force. Sharon Peterson mentioned it at the grocery store. I suppose our invitation got lost in the mail. It wasn't a party, I say, arranging my napkin on my lap. It was an announcement during the morning meeting. Father stares at his plate. Your aunt says you were quite cold to her when she came to visit. I offered her tea, I reply. We had a pleasant conversation. Celine pushes her food around. I had to cancel my audition today. There was no one to run lines with me. The silence that follows would have once crushed me under its weight. Now I simply reach for my water glass. My lease in New York starts on the 1st, I say. The moving company comes Tuesday. Mother's fork clatters against her plate. Tuesday? But Celine has that commercial callback Wednesday. She needs you to drive her car's still in the shop. I've arranged for an Uber account, I say. It's already loaded with enough credit for 3 months of auditions. Celine's eyes widen. 3 months? What happens after that? You'll need to budget for transportation from your acting income, I say, my voice gentle but firm, the same way other adults do. Father's face darkens. Now listen here. I've already transferred my name off your lease. I continue, turning to Celine, and removed myself from our joint accounts. There's a folder on your coffee table with everything you need to know about taking over those responsibilities. The kitchen clock ticks loudly in the silence that follows. I take another bite of casserole, the same recipe Mother has made for 20 years. It tastes different tonight, or perhaps I'm the one who's changed. You've clearly made your decision, Father finally says, his voice tight. I meet his gaze directly. Yes, I have. For the first time in my adult life, I don't apologize for choosing myself. A day before moving, the doorbell rings as I place the last framed photo into a cardboard box. Through the peephole, I see Celine's perfect mascara-streaked face. Behind her stand Mom and Dad, their expressions a practiced blend of concern and disappointment. I open the door but block the entrance with my body. I'm busy packing. There's been an emergency, Celine says, voice trembling. My agent called. I have an audition for a Netflix series tomorrow, but my car broke down and you need me to drive you, I finish. Even though I'm leaving for New York in 24 hours. Mom pushes forward. It's not just that, Alara. There are documents for the family trust that need your signature before you go. She waves a manila folder. Just one more thing we need you to handle. Dad clears his throat. We also need to discuss the timeline for your sabbatical. Sabbatical? My fingers tighten on the doorframe. That's what we've been telling everyone? Mom explains, her voice softening to that honey-sweet tone she uses when manipulating relatives. That you're taking a brief career sabbatical in New York. People understand sabbaticals. If you really loved us, Celine whispers, you wouldn't make this permanent. The words ignite something in my chest. I step back, gesturing them inside with a sweeping arm motion. Come in. It's time we talked. They file past me, eyes widening at the stacked boxes and empty walls, the reality of my departure finally registering in their expressions. Sit down, I say, pointing to the couch. I remain standing, surrounded by the physical evidence of my escape. For 30 years, I've been the daughter and sister you wanted me to be. My voice sounds different, steadier, stronger. I drove you to auditions, Celine. I paid your rent when you couldn't. I skipped promotions to help you rehearse. That's what family does, Mom interjects. No, that's what I did. Only me. I walk to the kitchen counter where a blue folder sits waiting. I've prepared for this moment. Let me show you what family really means to all of you. I open the folder and remove a stack of bank statements. These are the transfers I've made to Celine's account over the past 5 years, $47,000. Celine blinks rapidly. You offered to help. I place a printed calendar on the coffee table. The red marks are career opportunities I missed for Celine's auditions. The blue ones are family emergencies that somehow resolved themselves when I arrived. Dad shifts uncomfortably. You're making this sound calculated. Because it was. I pull out my phone, open my text messages. March 4th. Celine, can't make rent again. Please don't tell Mom and Dad. June 12th. Need you to call in sick and drive me to Chicago audition. Super important. I scroll further. September 28th. Borrowed your blue dress for my date. Spilled wine, threw it out, sorry. The silence in the room grows heavier with each revelation. You always talked about how close our family is. I continue. But this isn't closeness. It's dependency. And manipulation. I turn to face them fully, standing tall among my packed belongings. I will always be your daughter and sister, but never again your caretaker. Dad rises, face flushing. After everything we've sacrificed. What exactly did you sacrifice? I ask quietly. Name one thing you gave up for my journalism career. His mouth opens, then closes. For the first time in my life, my father has no answer. Mom's eyes fill with tears. This isn't like you, Alara. You're being so cold. This is exactly like me. You just never bothered to notice the real me. I walk to my bookshelf and remove a slim volume. I cross the room and hold it out to Celine. Basic Financial Management for Adults. I bought this for you 3 years ago. You never opened it. She takes it, her perfect eyebrows drawing together. I don't need this. I need you. No, you want me. There's a difference. I reach into my pocket and remove my parents' house key from my key ring. The small brass key catches the light as I place it on the coffee table. I won't be coming back for Sunday dinners or holiday photo sessions or emergency Celine sitting. You can't just abandon your family, Dad says, his authority crumbling with each word. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm choosing myself. Mom dabs at dry eyes. What will people think? That's not my concern anymore. Celine stands suddenly, panic replacing her calculated distress. What about my audition tomorrow? What about my rent next month? I look at her, really look at her perhaps, for the first time. My beautiful, talented sister who never learned to stand on her own. Figure it out, I say simply. The sun has barely risen when the taxi arrives the next morning. I stand on the sidewalk, surrounded by 3 suitcases. Each contains a different piece of my new life. Clothes for my weekend anchor position. Books that shaped my thinking. Personal items that hold meaning only to me. My family stands huddled together near the apartment entrance. They arrived unannounced at dawn, a final attempt to witness or perhaps prevent my departure. The driver loads my bags one by one. Each thud of a suitcase in the trunk sounds like freedom. I slide into the back seat without a backward glance. As the taxi pulls away, I catch a glimpse in the side mirror 3 figures growing smaller on the sidewalk, looking lost and bewildered in the morning light. For the first time in 30 years, I am not responsible for their feelings, and the anger that fueled me through this confrontation begins to transform into something lighter, something that feels dangerously like joy. 3, 2, 1. The floor director points at me, and I'm live. Good evening, New York. I'm Alara Wilson with your weekend report. The words flow naturally, my voice steady as I deliver the day's headlines. 6 weeks into my anchor position, and the nervous flutter in my stomach has transformed into a gentle hum of excitement. The studio lights warm my skin as I transition between segments, asking questions that matter, steering conversations towards substance rather than spectacle. When we cut to commercial, Diane, my producer, flashes a thumbs up. Perfect timing on that transition, Alara. I return to my modest apartment in Brooklyn after the broadcast. It's small but entirely mine, plants thriving on the windowsill, bookshelves arranged by topic rather than anyone else's system. No permission needed to hang the watercolor painting I bought from a street artist last weekend. My coffee mug sits unwashed in the sink without anyone's disapproving sigh. My phone buzzes with texts from the weekend team inviting me to Sunday brunch. These new friendships feel different, colleagues who value my insights, who ask about my ideas rather than what I can do for them. We talk about stories that matter, laugh over industry jokes, plan hiking trips upstate. Nobody needs me to drive them anywhere or expects me to cancel my plans for their emergencies. Monday morning, I scroll through social media while waiting for my coffee to brew. Celine has posted photos from a job interview, her first real one, wearing the blazer I left behind. Dad commented with awkward encouragement. Another post shows mom learning to use the new coffee maker, the kitchen counter cluttered with cookbooks she never needed when I handled meals. The sight doesn't bring me joy exactly, but something adjacent to it, validation perhaps, or quiet satisfaction. They're learning to function without their foundation, without me. My phone rings precisely at 7 that evening, my scheduled weekly call home. The dishwasher's making that noise again, Mom says immediately. We thought maybe you could. Have you called the repair service I wrote down in the kitchen drawer? I ask, stirring pasta on my stove. A pause. Well, no, but give them a call tomorrow. They're very reliable. I keep my voice kind but firm. How was your book club meeting? The conversation lasts exactly 30 minutes. When Dad mentions Thanksgiving with a loaded pause, I respond with my prepared boundary. I'll fly in Wednesday evening and leave Friday afternoon. I've already booked the tickets. Their silence speaks volumes, but I don't rush to fill it anymore. 2 months later, I'm preparing a human interest piece on career transitions, when my personal perspective suddenly illuminates the story in a way textbook journalism never could. On air, the words come from somewhere authentic. Sometimes the bravest choice is choosing yourself. My inbox fills with viewer messages, people seeing themselves in my reporting, connecting with the quiet truth beneath the headline. When the national correspondent offer arrives, I negotiate confidently for better terms. The old Alara would have accepted whatever was offered, grateful for the opportunity. This Alara knows her worth. I call home with the news. Their congratulations sound restrained, almost reluctant. That sounds very demanding, Mom says. Will you have time to visit? I'll make time for what matters, I answer. Later, my colleagues raise glasses in celebration. I slip away early, standing at my apartment window, overlooking the city lights. I press my palm against the cool glass, feeling the vastness of possibility beyond. They tried to stop me, but in the end, they taught me how strong I really am.